welcome to a very special /SpaceX launch, because didn't think of this though, did we?
You didn't? No.
So yes, basically this is our new sort of format for the show, but then as we've been pointed out and I sort of spotted as well, we've got the launch of the Starship, which is going to means everyone's going to disappear. So I thought we'd just do it together, because last time we did this we didn't get in trouble from SpaceX. They were very good because they don't care, they let everybody stream it. So, but anyway, there's the plan. Hopefully you enjoyed the show yesterday of a little run through of exactly what we was going to do. So what we do is when we get to the launch and all the rest of it, we'll go back to SpaceX and stuff like that. That's the sort of plan with it. Anyway, how you doing, Matt? Good day so far?
All right, actually. Frustrating, as usual. Right. But, you know, that's technology.
That's technology, and when you start to make things trying to happen, they don't.
But no, been all right actually. Nice day, weather's lovely, can't complain.
I must admit, beautiful day here as well. Very sunny, although it's a bit of a chilly wind.
Yes, it is actually. We've got that. It's a bit, yeah. The wind is a bit fresh. So, but no, all good. Can't complain. So our chat is on. So got people piling in.
I was going to say hello to everybody in all the chat. So obviously, I've now got the chat room for R1 hidden. Apologies to the members who didn't like being seen. Not that you could see it. I watched it back. You'd need a microscope to see that.
Yes,
so
you're safe.
But sorry, Peter.
He's not.
Sorry. Oh God, I said his name now. That's it.
Yeah. He's not in today.
Yeah, that's it. He's not in there today. It's fine. Anyway, I've got mine cramped, so I can't see who's in actually, because I've got it down so I can just see you. But hello to John. We've got Greg down there. We've got Andy. We've got Ian. So far, I can see. Yeah. Hello to everybody. Hello to YouTube chat as well. Is anybody there? We are there, Ken. We are definitely here. Thank you for all the nice comments, I would say, from YouTube. You turn on comments for the first time in 10 years, and the first one you get is, what's it you put? I can't remember what exactly you put now. Something along the lines of, hold on, I don't want to get it wrong. Let me just bring up what he put. There we go.
Hello, Germany.
Hello, Germany.
Charles is in from Germany. I've got a YouTube chat on as well today.
Yes.
So, yeah, shout out where you're from. Belgrade, Serbia. Hello to Zoran. And if we butcher anybody's names, that's just us. So don't be offended.
Yeah, don't be offended. It's what we do. But yes, hello to Ray Fraser, who says you often give bad advice.
That's true.
So, yeah, because we deliberately just give people misleading information and advice and stuff. So, yeah. I have no idea. Who knows with these things? Anyway, thank you for the other comments. Thank you to all the members as well. Give me some nice bit of feedback on all of this, of what we're planning on doing. Obviously, this is technically the one where we do it in an afternoon on a Thursday, because then next Thursday we'll have the members one with all the team and all the rest of it in the evening. So that's a thing with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I could. Yeah, I haven't. I think someone should do that though. Neil says about if we thought of having a GP chat, do a review.
What's that?
You know, that's what me and Nathan were on about the other week. You know, where it's AI.
Oh, AI stuff. I was looking at that for scripts, actually. You know, when I'm trying to do a voiceover, because I'm rubbish at stuff like that. And actually, I've been scripted, because I know some Star Wars guy who does props and stuff tried it. A YouTube bloke, and you put keywords in, and then it kind of fills in the blanks as a proper script.
That's it, yeah.
You could have like a bit of comedy in there and all this. I don't know. It's sounds interesting, to be honest, but kind of suppose takes away from yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes. I think that's the trouble. I think it would take away from obviously what you're doing and all the rest of it, but yeah. I don't know. As you say, it's one of those things with the entire chat GPT thing. It's stick your thing in and what you're going to get back. It's either going to love it or you're going to hate it. But the scary thing is when they start taking over the world. You know?
I tell you what, there's massive lag, you know. I'm watching our stream.
Yeah.
And we're so far behind on the YouTube stream than us, if that makes sense.
Oh, right. Okay. Never mind.
I don't know if that's normal, because I don't normally watch ourselves back, to be honest. Not as in live. But, blimey, look, there's loads of people in YouTube chat as well, in there. So I was
going to say YouTube chat. You stay off of OnlyFans. I know. Well, that's where you can find Andy these days.
That's and John.
John, they've gone their own way now. They broke away and they've gone to OnlyFans version. They can be seen there with some dodgy music playing in the background with both of them on screen.
At least they could get music playing in the background, which
Well,
is what
yeah, they could.
I managed today. So, yes. But no, we're all good, aren't we? So how's your morning been?
I've been quite busy. I've been, as you say, working again on this little guy. If I go for me, there we go. Getting him together. He's all technically a soft bit, but we've done the lower roll of bits and pieces. We've done this one. Anything with planetary gears. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah.
That's from my engineering days. It's one of those things is that you think, why is it so complicated? And you see it working, and it's just one of those things you could watch forever. So anyway, so we've done all of this. This is somewhat together now, coming together very nicely. And I've put the tracks together in here, and they are fully workable and articulated. To be honest, they're really, really nice. It's just two-piece on these ones. So it literally is, you've got this bit down in here, glues to this one, and then you just plug it together. And they really, really are nice. They're good, strong, thick ones. So you go through, you do get a load of spares as well in case you do make a hash by the looks of it. But yeah, so I've done one lot, and then obviously I'll do the next lot on camera. So I've done some editing this morning, so part 3 of this will be up with you. And that will get you pretty much just until these. So you're not that far away from where I am, to be honest, as we go through. So also on the good news of this front is I've had a delivery, which I'll show you in a minute. And luckily our paint has arrived. Yes, look. Model Air.
What I know.
I haven't used this stuff for probably 5-6 years.
Blast from the past.
So anyway, the whole point of this is everybody I've spoken to has said that this is the colour to do it. Because again, it's very, very nice colour on this one. So it's the old hemp colour. But it said I haven't used an acrylic, as in this form, for a good couple of years now. So it'll be going back to school for me about how to, actually use this stuff again after using lacquers for the last sort of 5 years.
Oh, just what I remember, have you actually smelt it?
Shall I have a whiff?
Have a smell test.
Have a smell. Hold on.
Does it definitely change the formula?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, it's got a nice smell to it.
Fragrant is the word.
Like a Vicks.
Vicks Sinex, yeah.
Yes. So, but anyway, I haven't used this stuff, in all honesty, for probably, as you say, at least 4 or 5 years now. And so to use it on anger as well will be a bit old school. So I'm going to have to learn to airbrush acrylics again.
Just give it a good shake and put it in airbrush. Actually, do you know what? Now it's got a new formula. It does spray really quite nice.
Oh, does it? Okay.
You don't have any. Just make sure you give it a good.
Because to be honest, I always used to thin this stuff by about 10%. Anyway.
Oh, I don't think you do with that now. I think you just get away with it straight in the airbrush.
And I used to use airbrush cleaner.
Yeah.
That was my sort of tip for this stuff back in the day, is to get airbrush cleaner instead of their own thinners, just acrylic airbrush cleaner, their one. And it used to have no problem really at all with it. But again, we're going to give a bit of a test with this one properly and see how it is. So maybe on Saturday morning show, I'll set it up and have a play with this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, anyway, it has arrived and done that. At the same time, I have had a delivery in, and I have got, where should we start? So this one has arrived. So I'll get the review of this one done either after this show, and then I'll get it up for tomorrow, or I'll get it done on Friday. It'll be up by Friday night as well. So this is Trumpeter's new Mark 1 Hurricane, 48 scale. Again, it just amazes me everyone does a Mark 1, but we're assuming then we're going to get, Mark 2s and various things coming along after this one, which will be very nice indeed. So again, some nice options on there, a little bit of photo etch, usual things. As I say, I haven't seen anything new from Hobby Boss, as in aircraft 48 scale, for a while. So that'll be nice to have a look at. So I've got that one in. I've also succumbed, and I did buy that. So yeah, the whole point is we've been talking about me doing a midstone aircraft with the Azul's blue underside, which apparently has nothing to do with the place or anything else like that. But yes, I just got this real hanking to do midstones and stuff like that with the blue underneath it. And I thought, do you know what? Yeah, can't go really wrong with the Beaufort. So I thought, stuff it. We'll give it a whirl. It's ICM. It's going to be a good kit.
Yeah, well, you've reviewed the other one, haven't you? See?
Yes, yes, we did. And again, you've got different options down in this one as well. So you've got the grey versions as well as the midstones down in there as well, and the normal green and grey one as well. So you've got all the different versions down in there. Because Matt's like turning me to the dark side and stuff like that, I bought a cobble road.
As you do.
So anyway, let's have a look at it because I don't know what it is. What am I going to get? Just a cobble road unpainted?
Again, you're going to get a big slab of resin.
Oh, there you go.
It's what I used for the Sherman diorama. I used one of those.
Right.
And then elaborated on it and obviously put some stuff, but it's a big slab of resin.
It is a nice big slab of resin. It's funny because it's got like, yeah, it's like it's multi-layered, isn't it? When you look at it, it's not just, it's in, camera's not going to lock in. Here you go. You see it's in layers?
Yes, I can, yes.
So it's like they have a top layer for it and then the rest of it is just down. That's a better one. You can see how it's done there. No, come on, lock in camera. There you go.
It's like a tree.
Yes. So then obviously it's just the top one and then obviously these other ones. Oh, is it plasticard under it, do you reckon? It is. It's laminated plasticard.
Is that what it is it?
Yeah.
All right, okay. I suppose that keeps it from...
Yeah, bending and all the rest of it.
Bending and breaking.
Keeps it nice and rigid.
Do you know what? I never noticed on that one I used. I've not got one here. I've got a Vallejo, another diorama thing they do in resin, which is a corner of a building and a fountain.
Yes. Yeah.
But I ain't got one of them here. I tell a lie, I have. Actually, I tell a lie. Stay there. Don't go away. I have got one.
It'll be here. There you go. It's in his overflow area.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just really stuff. Yeah. You don't want to go in that room. I get told off because it's not my room. But I keep shoving stuff in there. So I have got that one.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
So let me just flick camera because I've never noticed if
that's the railway one, isn't it, with the slope, which one of our members used the new thick wash on, is it?
Yes, that's exactly the same one. So there's some nice bits of resin.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this one. I don't know if this one is or not. The only problem I've got with this base, sorry, my camera's a bit.
It's all right, we're on crutch cam, it's fine.
No, that's not what you want to be seeing on a Thursday afternoon, is it? Really? Actually, I could do it off the other cam. Actually, I'll tell you what, hold on. This other cam might be better. Excuse the mess. So, that one's not.
Oh, right, yours is just solid, is it? Ah.
There you go, sorry. There you go, that one's solid.
Yeah, no, mine's not. Mine's plasticard, laminate. Perhaps because it's a bit thicker, they were worried about it cracking.
You see, this base is a cracking idea. If that
was at one end.
Was at one end and not right in the middle. Because there's just no way to put anything. You've got a little building thing that fits around this part, I think, whichever way, round there anyway. Yeah?
Yeah.
Whichever way it goes. Which is absolutely fine. The train tracks is, brilliant. But it's kind of in the middle. So unless you've got something with workable suspension, a tank, say, I don't know what else you'd put on it. Because you're in like little, it just don't flow.
I suppose from their point of view, perhaps they were thinking you would have a wagon on it.
Well, you could have a wagon down the middle. There is that. You could have one of the mini art wagons or whoever's wagon actually on the track. I did think of that as well. Because at least they've kind of angled it a little bit. It's not completely square. Yeah. Even if it was running more that way, horizontal. Whichever way. That'd work better. Because that's kind of how you have dioramas. I don't know. It's baffled me a little bit. Because I've tried it. I've tried to put stuff on it just to see. And I just... Because it's quite high as well. You know what I mean? But anyway, here's my whinge for the day. I'm sure there's method in the madness. I'm sure other people's made it work for them. But I just couldn't figure out a nice composition. That's the word I'm trying to look for.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely.
And it's all up here. What do you think that'll do, look? Do you think that looks better scale?
A world of tanks.
World of tanks, yeah. Yeah, because everything just sort of don't look right. But anyway, so no, that one's not laminated. Some actually, but I don't know actually. No, it's definitely different to yours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. Right, I can put that away now, can I?
Very nice. Very, very nice indeed.
So if anybody's got any bright ideas, I'd use that base, shout.
Yes. And the last thing I got a couple of pots of these because my clear colours are like 1,000,000 years old. If you're like me, you bought them years ago and now they literally have just died. So these are to replace really my Tamiya ones. Because as I said, my Tamiya ones, look, you can see how long I've had it. My lid is actually coming apart here. It's literally crumbling.
Right.
So, obviously, the ultraviolet lights get into it now and all the rest of it. But I've literally probably had these, in all honesty, 20 years because you don't use much of them. Let's face it. And you can see
No.
that it's a bit miscoloured inside as well. So yeah, I've kept really thinned it, put lacquer thinners in it and stuff like that to keep it going. But my green one is properly horrible, and the red I'm almost out of. So I thought, do you know what? We'll get some of these. So I've got some of the AK real colours because obviously a bit of a direct comparison. So we've got nice clear greens, clear blues. We've got smoke as well, which I suppose is equivalent to Tammy's what, X19, I think it is.
Yes.
If I remember rightly. And then down in here, we've just got, as you say, your reds, oranges, and your green ones as well. So it's just really to restock on all my clears because they're all just a bit nasty and gnarly, all of mine. And again, considering the only time I really use them is that one time I finish my models and I need one light, dink, you know, red, green, perhaps a red one on the top or something. That's the only times I actually use them. Thing though, always keep your sponge dead handy for all your stuff. Pots can go for recycling and the cardboard does, but the sponge, I must admit, I've got drawers full of this now because it's quite good. Make odd covers and stuff with them as well.
It's good for sponge chipping. It's that good sponge for chipping.
Yeah, it's got a nice good density to it.
I've got some up here out of mine, and it's one of them where it's got quite a nice texture for that. So Greg's just asked a question I chat about them bases. Actually, Greg, I've got some at work. I'll get Andy to put them on the site, but we can't get them Vallejo bases. They do buildings and all sorts as well. There's quite a range for the Vallejo.
Yes.
The Vallejo things, but yeah, I've used one of the a version of that, like say for that Sherman diorama thing I did last year, and I've got a couple of others as well. But yeah.
I could do the bulldozer ripping up the cobblestones with it.
You could. You get a lot of cobblestones in Israel.
Well, you probably do actually in all defence. Ancient roads. So
I've never been, so I wouldn't know. I presume there would be.
I'm sure there is in certain areas.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But so yes, no, that's all right. So that's my little delivery that came into today. So that's quite handy. It means I can really push on and get the paintwork on this now, which is what I wanted to do this week. But say I wasn't really massively encouraged with that colour, so we've gone with a little bit of hemp, which is definitely looks
Hemp's
more
good.
realistic.
Hemp's good.
Hemp is good.
Oh look,
so,
Peter's in YouTube chat.
Is he? He's not allowed to be. Blank him off.
Quick, get back into our chat, Peter.
Yes, why are you in that chat and not our chat, Peter?
Anyway, so yes, right. So plan of attack for today, is we're going to run through what we're going to be doing in future streams, aren't we?
Yes.
And actually go on with something to plan instead of just sitting here waffling. So you can go first, and then I will go after.
Oh, what? What am I supposed to do? I don't even know what we're doing here. I'm just queuing up all the other stuff on the side. Go on then. You could go first.
Oh, that is how I've got you in it.
Yeah, no, I think I'll keep an eye on SpaceX.
So you just want to watch SpaceX, don't you? You're not actually interested in our stream, are you?
No, I am. Go for it.
Right. So let me just pull the camera in. So one of the projects I've had on the go, which I actually found, is this little piece here.
Yes.
Which is, for nobody who knows, this kit. And I can't remember why I built it. I've had it ages. It was in a drawer. The box was in a drawer at work, all built and ready. So I'm going to finish painting this, weathering it, go through the motions to get that done. So this has had a coat of, if I remember rightly, Hataka, blue line, red primer.
As I say, you don't see much blue line around.
No, you don't. But I've got some, to be honest. So I thought I'd use it. And so it's in that. So we've already got that down. And the plan is obviously, I was looking, and we've got two versions of SCC number 15 olive drab.
Yes.
We've got blue line version, as you can see, and the 3G one.
Yes.
Bit of a difference.
Yes. Definitely. One's definitely green, one's more grey-green.
Yes. So I don't know which is right and which is wrong. I'm no expert in this colour by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm definitely not going to call out any of the manufacturers for their shades of it. But again, I've got two of them, so I think I'm actually going to use the 3G one, if I'm honest, for this. Right. Get a coat of that down, and then we'll go from weathering. So this is going to be oils and the usual weathering product. So we'll go through the motions with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the plans I've got for some of the streams that we're going to do, and the other one I've got, if you've not noticed, this dude, which is limited edition. I've just found out, as you can see. So I'm quite now don't know if to do it or not. But
you're committed now.
I'm a bit committed. But I'm thinking, save all that as well. If you get any packaging like that, it's mega.
Yes.
That phone. So if anybody who knows Young Miniatures, do a lot of busts and things like that, are absolutely amazing. So I'll just zoom in a bit and get the camera right. Just bear with me a minute. It's not on automatic.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see from the casting, they are absolutely top-notch castings for busts.
Yes.
I did the Luftwaffe pilot, I think it was. So obviously got some clean-up, which I'll do off-camera, obviously, because it's resin. I'll take this outside and get all the nubs cleaned off.
Yeah.
And there you go. You even get a nice badge look.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite a nice touch. Here's his head, which, again, they've got nice locating.
Yes.
So you just drop that in.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can pin it, or just two-part epoxy I normally use. So I'll go through the motion of that, and his hat, or his helmet, should I say. And then there's a bag of weapons, so his Sten gun and some straps for his helmet.
Yes. So
we'll going through this sort of building and painting. And also what I've got is, which is going to help me and probably you as well, is this is a different Young Miniatures bust, but same principle, because I've never painted a Denison smock.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever painted a British Para, to be honest. So we'll go through the motions. I'm just going to use this as a guide. I'm going to make my own recipes up, as in how I do it, but just for some of the colour recipes, shall we say, for his uniform, and obviously some good reference photos as well of the different ones. And so that's going to be another street. Another thing I'll be doing on cam.
Very nice.
So if you're interested in that, which hopefully you will be, we'll see how that turns out. So I am hoping, if I can get his head anything like how that one's come out, I'll be more than happy. I was fiddling with that again last night, so we'll go through the motions and see what turns up. And then I've got a couple of other things, but we'll just concentrate on these for now. So we'll do this in the little Sherman, and then we'll go from there, really. Yeah.
Perfect. Fair enough. Just out of interest, I'm just bringing it up now. We had a question on last. We're going to do the questions and the bits and pieces anyway. But we had a question pop up on. Let me just bring up the comments thing. Where are we? Hold on. I don't know why this isn't working. My comments thing isn't working. Let me just get to it old school.
Is that on the black and white thing?
Yeah, the Zenith. Let me read out his question, and then you can answer it. I'll bring up yesterday's speed and do it that way. So, right. Okay. Skip that. Pause that. Stop. Right. Okay. So the question was, could you adapt the black and white shadows and highlights to a pre-shade layer to apply it to figures?
Does it mean like the zenith highlighting? Is that because
I think that's what it's getting at? Yeah.
Yes, because that's a lot of way of doing it. Because obviously then you're just gonna you get your shadows and highlights. It's going to show it all.
Yeah.
So basically, you spray it all black, getting all the nooks and crannies, or brown. I don't tend to use black if I'm going to do it now. I tend to change my colours out for a really dark brown, depending on what colour the uniform is. Because obviously, if you've got a darker uniform, then the black's okay. But if you're going to say do a Africa core figure, for instance, or a desert camo, you're probably better off using brown, because you're going to use that dark colour as your darkest shadow.
Yes.
And then like a deck tan instead of white as well. It's not so stark, but you can mix it and match it, whichever. You don't have to have black and white, as long as you can have dark blue and whatever, depending on what you're painting. So I will probably use it on the smock, but not on the face.
Right.
I'm normally just going to paint the face in a dark brown colour. Just looking at what I've got on here, and to be honest with you, my plan is because we've got the range of Gen 3 flesh colours that we sell. was going to try and use them mixed with like the primaries basically.
Yeah.
And that was my plan where I was going to go with that. So we'll see how it turns out. Because I go for more warmer tones where, you know, the flesh sets are more, I suppose, yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And I go for the more pinker tones, if that makes the warmer tones, because I think they can look a bit washed out. So we'll see. We'll give it a go, and we'll see if it don't work. I'll be stripping it and doing it again.
Again, I think that's obviously the big mistake I've made. Every time I've painted a figure, I just tend to use something like, I don't know, deck tan or something else as the base colour for them. And that's why mine always look like something from The Walking Dead, because they're very grey and very pale. And you need to get the warmth and the colours into them, I think. And that's the thing I've always made the mistake with.
Yeah. I think it's an easy thing to do, because you buy them flesh colour sets.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of in that yellow brown bracket, if that makes sense. You know, the colour spectrum.
Yeah.
When, you know, I've kind of, because I was following a Korean guy, and the way he was doing it, I couldn't understand a word he was saying, but obviously I could see what he was doing, you know, and thankfully he put the colours up as well.
Yeah.
And I was just going off what he was using, and at the time it was Vallejo, but I've swapped them out now. But I have got the same colours in the 3G or 3rd gen, if you want to call it. So you go for more, like say, more pinky warmy colours.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can mix and match. There's no set recipe for doing skin tones. You could just make your own up, you know, and find your recipe that you like. So, but thinking as obviously we sell the Gen 3 flesh set, we might as well try and use it to our advantage and mix it with other colours, I think, in off the palette. So, yes. So that's quite exciting. So, yeah, once this is cleaned up, like I say, all the resin casting blocks and stuff are cleaned up.
Yeah.
I'll start this. We'll give it a coat of primer and whatever, and we'll get on with it. So, yeah, I look forward to that.
Very nice. Well, as you can see, we're 1 minute 50 seconds away from launch. Look at all the engines under there. So, yes. So we'll do this. T-by this. That's it. Look, 1 minute 40. So, wow, that's all the engines. Matt doesn't know anything about this. He's like, what? But all engines. It doesn't just have like 5, like the Saturn. This has lots of them.
Does it? Just answer. It's 70-second scale, the Sherman.
Yes.
It's a little Airfix 70-second Sherman, that is. I've actually got a bigger Sherman Firefly, to be honest. I've got a Tasker one. Is it a Suka? Because I like the Firefly. I think it's quite a cool looking version of a Sherman. Because there was a question of why, if this was a US tank, which I know it's obviously got a British turret on it, if you want to call it that, was it painted in our olive drab and not their olive drab? But I pointed out they were all refitted, weren't they? Not that my knowledge of Shermans, I'm sure there's more knowledgeable people on here, but they must have got repainted. Have I got to shut up now while this bloody rocket launches?
Yeah, you do now. Right, okay. Hold on.
I'm going to listen to my Spotify then. Shout me when you're back.
Right, okay. Here we go. 30 seconds. Oh, quick, everyone. Vote now. Is it going to blow up? Blow up at separation? Or is it going to be all right?
Okay, you can see the clock has recycled.
Oh no!
Flight director
not
has
working.
Hold. We are recycling.
Oh.
For the moment,
there's a lot of steam and not a lot of action.
They could hold at T-minus 40 seconds. They could go to an earlier point. Give us a minute to listen into the nets.
Where's Buzz Lightyear when you need him?
Yeah, we're not going anywhere by the sounds of it. Launch is on hold.
No, it's still counting down, isn't it?
No, it's held.
Is it held?
Yeah, they've just done a hold. They don't know how long yet.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, you will. Musk will sack everyone now. That's it. You're all fired. Be like Twitter.
It's been scrubbed.
Oh. Hold off for final checks. Well, surely it wouldn't have gone that low before that would have been it. I think it's, yeah.
Is it broke?
I think it may have, well, it's not broke, but it ain't going anywhere. Look, it's literally just a bomb sat there now, isn't it?
Yes. It's going to
Jesus.
It's going to be a big kaboom.
Yes.
Where did they launch them from?
This is in Texas, Boca
it?
Chica, on the Texas coast. There it is. So,
Okay, fair enough.
yes. Oh dear. Right. Well, we'll just leave it there a second, because I have a feeling it's got a 1 hour window, isn't it? So they said it can be launched within the time scale of the hour. So
Is that what it is? What happens after that hour?
Then I have to unfuel it again, like I did on Monday, and go again. So.
Oh right, okay.
It does need some weathering, I think, that as well. Considering it's a fully reusable, it should look like a Millennium Falcon, isn't it?
It should look
all kicked in and blisters all over it.
John and our chats need some AdBlue.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Thunderbirds are stop.
Anywhere,
is it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Look, apparently the EMS fault light came on.
Is what it is it? engine management lights on. That's
it.
Shut down.
So yes, it's like, oh yeah, it's in the go home limp mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
John Innsbrucker again here at the Hawthorne webcast desk. We're holding a T-minus 40 seconds. What we've heard so far is we have...
Anyway, might as well fill us in on your projects for these streams while we're waiting for this this phallic symbol to sort itself out.
When it goes, it will be worth it.
Will it?
So...
Yeah, exactly. We've got to fill in like Hugh Edwards on the BBC.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's a professional. He's used to it.
Isn't he just been sacked?
I don't know, has it? You don't see him anymore. What happened to him?
I don't know.
John said we should know shortly if we are able to continue. But as we mentioned before, we are able to hold up to.
I can't remember last time I watched BBC.
Able to lift off today.
Yeah, on
well, BBC News anyway.
Different. Once we start propellant loading,
oh well, handbrake's still on. What we'll do, we'll just leave it there for 1 sec. I'll move off to some questions and bits and pieces. And then we'll come back. If somebody in chat shouts out that it's coming back.
It's like they're clearing all the flags, and we're going to release at T-minus 40 seconds.
Oh, they're going to go.
That's amazing news.
The green card, Wayne, I got from Amazon. I got piles of card, to be honest. Yeah, it's just from Amazon.
Did you buy in bulk?
I did. I bought a packet full of 20 or something. I don't know. So it's all stashed near my bin here. I've got grey, green, black, blue. Yeah, just off Amazon.
I must admit, I did the thing where I've got multiple cutting mats because they were on offer on the last time Amazon had one of their sales. I bought 3.
Yeah. I just now have them underneath, to be honest. But
because obviously every time I tip over the extra thin, and
that's 5 minutes, do they?
No, that's it. That is the trouble with it. They literally don't last.
Well, they do if you look after them, but obviously, you know, they get hammered with us. So.
Yes.
Well,
okay. Right. Okay. Well, I don't want to come away in case it bloody goes, because by the time the stream tells me, it would have gone because of the lag. So yes, perhaps it is like. Oh no, we're off again. Okay, 28 seconds.
All right.
Hold on. We'll try again. Ooh, 20 seconds. Okay. Wait for it. Here we go. A moment we can all say where we were when we witnessed this.
Okay. What witness it?
It just explodes.
I was about to say, just stop where it is again.
Holy shit, it's going.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can't see it going anywhere. I'm on 20 seconds here on my
It's
screen.
going.
I'm on 20 seconds. Let's have a look. Oh, it's taken off.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, it stopped.
No, it's all right.
Booster after chamber pressure is nominal.
Wow.
Don't load up.
I know you can get 3D printed ones, but it'd be good if we get a good model of it.
The inaugural Starship Starship vehicle. Tower clear to into pitch over. Propulsion reports
Right,
first
so
stage
how
engines
high is it
level.
actually going to get?
What a sight from the ground cameras at
Just
Starship.
really going to barely reach orbit. It's not designed to go into orbit,
Right.
but the booster's going to do a boost back.
Acquisition signal, surface proceed.
Oh look, does that mean they got 4 engines out?
We're throttled down and throttled back up.
Oh, another engine gone.
Going through the period
Are
of
they running
maximum
out of fuel?
aerodynamic pressure.
No, it's all right.
So this is a disposable one then, is it?
This one is going to be disposable, but normally it won't be. It will come back.
So how many engines it got? 1, 2...
Lots.
It has got... No, I meant how many's not firing.
Oh right. There's 5 not firing.
Continuing to watch the first stage.
Sure his lordship won't be happy with that.
100 seconds into flight. Our next major activity is going to be shut down of the first stage. Houston tracking station now acquiring the vehicle.
Yeah, Neil's probably right. They'll put...
Starship and Super Heavy and ignition of the Starship engines.
There you go, the Starship bit's gone.
We light up 6 engines in a staggered sequence. And if all goes well, those 6 engines will burn for almost 6.5 minutes. Onboard view from Starship. And there's views of the Raptor engines on the second stage as we prepare for stage separation. Now after stage separation, the first stage will flip and begin a boost back maneuver for landing in the Gulf.
Oh, it's tumbling.
Is that supposed to do that?
I don't know.
Is this part of the plan?
I don't know.
What about if it tumbles on a sitter?
Oh, they'll blow it up before it does that bit. Oh. Oh no, it's supposed to do it then. So it's going to do a flip.
Is it?
Oh. I don't think it should have done a full flip, should it?
I have no idea what it's supposed to be doing.
I think it's tumbling out of control at this point.
No, it's fine.
No, they're all gone quiet. That's always a clue. Ow. Nothing to see.
It's doing some lovely aerobatics.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Now it's going to come down, you know.
From the super heavy booster.
Ooh.
Yeah, Kate, right now it looks like we saw the start of the flip, but
Hey,
obviously
there's
we're
all
seeing
sorts
from the
going
ground
on.
cameras.
Yeah, it's
the
just...
entire Starship
Yeah, I think they're
stack
going to
continuing
detonate it in a
rotate. We
minute.
should have had separation
You
by
reckon?
now. Obviously, this is does not appear to be a nominal situation.
Yeah, it does appear to be spinning, but I do want to remind everyone that everything after clearing the tower was...
Want me a rocket like that in your
There you
own...
go. Boom. They've got rid of it.
Is it gone?
Well, you can't just have it in case it comes down on someone.
And there, as you saw, as we
Oh dear.
an exciting end to the Starship inaugural integrated test flight.
Well, it cleared the tower. And it made it up to, what was it, 31 kilometres up?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's now coming down rapidly though. Look, that's it. We've blowed it up.
Yes, they've had to blow it up.
Here, absolutely pumped to clear the pad and make it.
Where's all the debris end up?
In the sea with any luck and away from people.
Of the booster and the Starship vehicle.
Live view there.
It is a
of
pretty
our
expensive
control
firework,
center
you're not
at
wrong.
Starbase,
Oh look, there's Elon at the
which
front
we
there,
refer
look.
to as Star Command. As we said before,
Are they still cheering, or is that just the same
picture?
picture?
I was going to say, it's an expensive thing though, isn't it? That's the thing.
It's amazing.
It is, but yeah.
Oh well, look, we will leave it right there. As I say, in some ways it's quite funny because when, if you remember rightly, they did the first SpaceX one, which actually made it back, the Falcon 9, and it landed. We watched that live on one of these streams as well.
We did, didn't we?
We're there for all the big moments in the world, definitely.
And they're all them there thinking, I've just lost my job.
Yeah, he's thinking there, that's just cost me how many billion, probably, just gone. But hey,
Hugo Drax is not going to be happy with me.
Do you remember old Drax? He had to steal his space shuttle back for Moonraker, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It is a little bit, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
Super Bond baddies. That's what we need. So,
Never
anyway.
mind. Cool. Right, so back to you, Matt. You're doing your paint bit.
Am I?
Are you?
Well, I've just explained what I'm doing for the stream.
Right.
You were going to explain what you were going to do.
Yeah, but I don't quite know.
Well, you need to figure it out rather quickly.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. I was going to go to some of the questions.
All right, were you?
We have got a couple of the questions. Some of them we did yesterday, so I won't go over those again. We talked about that one. So the big one we got here is from Mike, and he says, thanks for all the Easter shows. Able to watch some of the live stuff with you on daylight saving times and all the rest of it. Right, I'll paraphrase a little bit of this. Anyway, he says, you recently had a rant. I doubt it. It wasn't a rant. It would have been a discussion. So I don't have rants about the difficulties with Edard decals. But another kit manufacturer, which I've had a problem with and was wondering if others had the same issues that are known at the moment, is having problems with ICM decals. He's recently built the O2 Bird Dog Cessna and had issues with the decal sheet. The decals are very thin and hard to manage. If the water was too cold, it was hard to get it to release from the backing paper. Too warm or even tepid, they just seem to fold up. Unless you flood the surface with the decal, will stay where you put it. And again, so, just sort of semi-paraphrasing on this one. I think some of that, obviously, the trouble you have with decals is that you get used to a certain brand and when you move to somebody else's and, thicknesses and various things. As far as I'm concerned, if they're thin, the thinner the better, purely because they tend to adhere better and they'll conform into things like, panel lining, obviously, but also riveting and raised details as well. Obviously, the thicker they are, the less they tend to do that. Tamia, we're looking at you because theirs are notoriously thick and all the rest of it. One thing, though, if you notice when I do it, I don't have bowls of water. I haven't done for donkey's years now. I tend to just literally put the water at room temperature onto my cutting mat, then place the decal onto it upside down, so obviously face side downwards, let the water soak all the way through, take it off, and then I just stand it on my cutting mat. So it's actually working a little bit like a wet palette because it's always wet underneath it. That means the decal just sits there and lies there. It doesn't roll up as it's beginning to, soak up the water and all the rest of it because it can't because it's face down. All right. So then that way it just sits there. And then when you need it, you can take it still on its paper to the surface, wet the area and then slide onto the paper. So at no point is the decal free. Apart from when you want it to be. And I think that just helps out with very, very thin decals. Because if you remember rightly, when I did the 32nd scale F15, when we did the Eagle and those ones, those decals are incredibly thin. And I think if you were to remove them from the backing paper and have them loose, they're going to be a right nightmare. And they did. I had one of them cracked on me and, was a bit of a problem. And again, that's that thing about just keeping it all nicely in there.
Do you want me to mute because I'm a bit noisy?
Well, do you want to tell us what pressures and ratios and things, or roughly?
Yeah, 5 drops of this, couple of drops of that, and pressure-wise is I have no clue because it's a bit higher than normal. Actually, the pressure.
Right. Okay.
I actually can't see the gauge from here, and I'm on my Mac valve.
Yes.
It's because it's acrylic. I'm up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mixing ratio-wise, oh god, yeah, I just eyeball it. It's just the normal. It's actually quite. Can you see that?
Okay, so this is the 3rd gen stuff with their own thinners?
Yeah, with their own thinners, yeah. I am going to try and stick when I'm using certain brands of paint with their own thinners.
Yeah.
Because that's easier then for anybody who wants to know. And this isn't the best colour either on camera because it's a dark.
Yes.
But it needs to be pretty thickish, to be honest, for, because if you're used to using lacquers, well, you can see, look, you can't see because you're not on camera now.
Yeah, you're on camera. Yep.
Was I?
Yep, you're right.
But it's, I know you're spraying on a napkin and it's not the same, but the flow, I've got the flow look.
Yeah.
I bet you can't even see the airbrush look.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I could do doing a thing like where you, for ratios.
Yeah.
I've got so used to it now, just eyeball it.
I think that's the best way. Like I've often said, people often say about, you know, your air pressures, your paint thicknesses, but the variables are too big. You need to literally learn to listen to your airbrush. We've said before, if you get that crackling noise, it's not atomizing smoothly, and it means you either got to up your air pressure or thin it.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing.
But usual thing is just a bit of a gripper coat. Don't go too heavy on the first coat, let that dry, and just build it up gradually. Enjoy the process.
Yes.
Don't think I've got to just whack a load of paint down.
Mm-hmm.
But then where its own thinners in, there's obviously some retarder or whatever they put in this thinner.
Yeah.
That works a treat, to be honest, for an acrylic. So normally, obviously, I'd be in the spray booth, but it's not much cotton when the compressor obviously is right behind me and you can't hear anything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, actually. Let me just put this light on. Might get a bit more light. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Better, innit? We've got a bit of an overhead light now. So yeah, usual thing, we'll just not full trigger, about quarter of a trigger, and we'll just twist a bit on. Thing is, I think we should talk about, right, which I don't think we've ever spoken about, Phil, is primers.
Yes.
Different coloured primers, and obviously the effect they have on the top coat.
On the colour that you're putting over it. Yeah.
I think it is a big factor, because I don't know much about what primers are on aircrafts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I know you get, like, the US stuff.
Yeah.
You kind of get that zinc chromate, but they all painted in zinc chromate, or only certain manufacturers use zinc chromate? Was they all the plain, or just sort of wheel wells and bits? Because obviously, tanks, mainly World War II tanks were oxide red. I think apart from US, which they used the grey primer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I presume modern stuff are more grey primers now, are they?
I would have thought so. Yeah, it seems to be.
Well, obviously, I know a lot of the World War II Soviet stuff, even the British stuff, I think used a lot of red primer, and obviously the German stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's why I've done, this sort of red primer. I want to just see how it reacts with the green, because you're definitely going to get a different hue, because that's probably different from when you put it over a black primer, or because that seems to be the trend at the minute, is black primer in and then going up from there. Yeah. Well, I want to give it a change up and actually use what would be sort of factory primer colour.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose then you get more of a truer tone.
Yes.
If that makes sense of what the original colour would have been.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this is spraying a lot lighter than it looks in the pot. I don't know how it's coming across on camera, but a lot greener.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, like aircraft primers.
Yes. But again, like we often speak about when people are talking about spraying reds or yellows and that, we often say about using a white primer coat.
Yeah, that's a given, isn't it? Because of the.
But again, it depends. Obviously, I don't know how much red is quite. I would have thought a difficult colour to cover. So that would have affected the greens going over it.
Yeah, red. I suppose this has got more. It's not a pure red, is it?
No.
So, as in covering for an oxide primer, which this would have been. I don't think it. It was just an anti-corrosion primer, I think, weren't it? Oxide primer.
I believe so. Yes.
So, well, there's definitely a different hue coming through. I know it's not covered, but. You can see, look. So, it's interesting. Just one of them things I'm just playing with again at the minute, experimenting.
It is nice.
Hey?
It is nice. Right, what I'll do is, I will just, as you do that, I will just finish off these questions. I'll mute you off a sec.
Yes, mate.
There we go. Right, okay, so right, okay, so yeah, that's the thing about it. also, as you say, you're saying about using Set and Sol, dishwasher liquid, water types, things like that to no avail. Again, I think it's one of those things with it. With when you're using, decals and that, you need to find out what works best with that manufacturers of decal as well. Sometimes it's a bit like I tend to use Micro Set and Sol, and they work really well with certain manufacturers of decals. But then you come to things like Tamiya and stuff like that, then yeah, it doesn't seem to work as well with those. So I must admit, I tend to then use other perhaps stronger stuff to get those conformed down. But I would recommend having a go with it, of getting it to release off of your backing paper and everything else like that, but not coming away from your backing paper, so it just sits on top. So by doing it on the desk next to you, even if you put down, I know some people put down some wet paper towel and then stick the decals on top of that so they don't basically dry out. And tend to do it. If you have a look at a load of my videos, you'll see that's the way I tend to do it, and I don't really have any problems. Thick, thin, all the rest of it, because I don't realise until they're actually on the model, if that makes sense. He says also, can you use your influence with paint manufacturers, AK, for example, or Posca, to suggest producing acrylic type Posca paint in camouflage colours, so we can use them to highlight or detailing or touch-ups? For example, RLM65 for doing Luftwaffe squiggle patterns, or RAF dark green camos. That's a very good idea. Unfortunately, I don't know of anyone, unless you want to start making we start manufacturing this type of stuff, which will probably cost an absolute fortune. But I'm not aware of anyone who's done it. Although that said, I'm really surprised manufacturers haven't jumped on this yet, such as MiGs of this world and AK and guns and stuff like that. Because let's face it, they do a lot of the marker pens already for the Gunpla world and those types of things. So I'm really surprised that it hasn't actually been a thing yet. Does anybody know why Airfix 1/24 scale Hellcat is nowhere now to buy now? Yes, this is typical of Airfix. It'd be the same with their Spitfire and all their big ones. It happened to the Mosquito as well. They do a run or two of them, and then that's it. They don't do any more. So usually they might have a few kicking around the warehouse, and they get sold off really cheap at some point. And then we will go through the void, if you like, of not having any of a particular kit around, mainly with Airfix this is. But if you remember, we all were looking madly for Mosquitoes because they came out, and then you could pick them up quite cheap, and then they just disappeared for a long time. And then same goes obviously with the Hellcat, so forth and so on. But that's pretty much standard Airfix of how they do things. So yes, all right, happy with that?
Yeah, so far can't complain. Looks all right, doesn't it?
Covered all right, didn't it?
Yeah, there's a few bits. I've got to knock a bit. I've run out of paint, to be honest. Didn't mix enough up, but yeah, I'm just going to let that dry off a minute and then do a bit of touch-ups. But yes, I think it's a bit dark for this scale, but obviously when I get back to the oils and stuff, it'll brighten it back up a bit.
Yes.
So no, I'm going to let that dry off and, like I say, knock a bit more paint up and go again.
Very nice.
I'm back for a bit now while you're asking questions.
Yes. Okay, Luke says, what is the best primer colour to show the seam lines so they pop out and you can see them when you have to work on a little bit more, i.e. seams and stuff like that? Do we suggest grey, black or white?
So again, so I was reading the question. Sorry, Phil, I was completely thinking.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's basically Luke saying about what colour would you use paint-wise. So obviously it shows up if you've got to do any fixes, i.e. you've got a little bit of ghost seaming or something's come up. Would you use light grey, black or white?
Right, hold on, because I've got a perfect candidate here. I can show you on camera. So this is for the helicopter that I'm building on a Thursday night. Another one.
Right.
So I've used a black Sharpie.
Okay.
Which is just going to be a guideline for my seams.
It does work, but I would say one massive air of caution with that is that don't forget it's alcohol based. So when you come near it with thinners, it will leach.
Yeah, so I'll clean it off.
If you clean it all off, you're fine. But the only thing is, sometimes what happens is, and this is the only thing when it became a thing a few years ago, people talking about Sharpie and stuff, and I gave it a whirl, and then sometimes when you sand it all off and you think it's not there, you come along and then it leaches out. And I had a bit of trouble with it. Looked like I'd done some pre-shading where I don't pre-shade. where it's leaching out from the join when the lacquer's got to attack it, because obviously their Sharpies are alcohol based. So you're fine as long as it's all gone, but you might find it does tend to leach. It's one of those gifts that keeps giving. So just be careful with Sharpies, shall we say. I think you're better off with something like a Posca pen.
I was going to say, what about Posca pen?
Yeah, that's fine because they're acrylic.
Actually, I did use the Sharpie on this, but I have got some Posca pens as well. Obviously,
Yeah.
it depends on what colour plastic you've got, styrene.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so it sees black is going to be the norm, because you don't really get black styrene, do you?
No.
That's very often, unless obviously you're building a Nighthawk or something, a Black Widow or something. I don't know, but
yeah, what I tend to do is if I'm building the model, let's assume we're doing an aircraft with seams and stuff. So you're worried about you've got seam lines and joins. I'll paint it all grey. Right the way over it, and then if I'm into an area I think there's going to be a problem, or you can already see it and I need to know how much you need to sand or fill or whatever, I'll just pop some black acrylic paint into it, or as you say, like a Posca pen I've done before, or just a little bit of like Tamiya XF1 or something black, just brush it in there. It dries quick, and then when you sand it you can see exactly what areas need more work. Same goes for sink marks. So if you've got a big sink mark that you need to deal with in some, shape or form, then obviously just by putting down a little bit of black paint over it, when you're sanding that grey primer, it's going to pop. You'll see exactly where you're taking the high points off and you're taking off the low points, which obviously need probably filling. Or you think, you're into that thing about how much material can I take away to get rid of the sink mark before it's going to I'm taking away too much material,
I was going to say, to be honest with this thing, we're probably going to do a lot of scrape cleaning before I even hit it with the sanding sticks.
Yeah.
Because just try and get rid of the bulk of the material first without destroying all the panel lines that are in it and everything else. And then obviously finish off with a sanding, some fine sanding sticks. So I presume a lot of that black will be gone. And if there's any left, then it's obviously going to need a bit of filler in it. So that's the way to work it.
But sometimes I've done videos just purely on this, is that when to sand away and then when to fill, because we've all got that situation where it looks quite small and you think, oh, just sand it, especially if you've got that step system. So you've got two fuselage halves coming together and they're out of alignment. And you think, can I just sand away that top bit to bring it down to the lower point and get away with it? Or should you fill it so it comes up to the high point and all the rest of it? And again, a lot of it depends on how much material you've got in that wiggle room between both halves of it. So if it's a huge step, you're thinking, right, well, or this has got detail on, then you need to fill. If you're thinking it's just a little bit, I could probably get away with it, scrape clean it. And that's what Matt's going to have exactly on the bottom of that Black Hawk, because Black Hawks, they're so flat. Luckily, he's got no detail under that and it won't really matter. So you get in there with any way you like. But if you got something where, like when I did the big Black Hawk, the 35th scale one, you got a lot of detail running on the underside. I didn't want to obliterate it by sanding it away or anything else like that. And at the same time, though, I don't want to fill over the top of it, so I've got to put it all back in. So again, scrape cleaning is a great way of working between the lines, of seeing exactly where the sweet spot is, because you can only go so far with scrape cleaning, but with sanding you can go over the top, because you can just obliterate everything just to sort of flatten it out. Yes,
just before you carry on with the next question, clear before they go off on the chat, and one's about the Trumpy Hobby Boss Hurricane. And do you think they'll do any other versions? Probably, knowing them, they will, but I don't.
Yes.
I won't be surprised, because let's be honest. When Hobby Boss have released other, like the Corsair and
they do the lot.
They do the whole lot, and there's a few others they've done. So I would probably expect them to do the rest at some point.
Yes.
And yes, I'm left-handed. Somebody's asking. So yeah.
Cat-handed.
I am proper left-handed.
Should we have a sneak in the box?
At what?
At the Hurricane.
If you want.
Come on, let's do it. Nope,
I thought you were doing a full review.
I will do tomorrow, but we can have a sneaky look in the box, but I can't get it out. I can't get it out of the box.
And just asking about PM. We are an online shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a proper shop. We're in a unit, but we're an online shop. If that makes sense. Yes.
So.
Let's have a look then.
That's your options. So usual sort of, early war one with the two-tone. But it's quite good how you've got the brown and green, the really early one, and then the grey-green with the black side. with the sky underneath. So 4 versions. Got to check one down in there. We've got the old Eagle Squadron, was it? The US ones? And then again, was it Eagle Squadron? The US pilots came over?
Don't know. Ask me another.
Right. Okay. Well, I tell you what. I don't want to spoil everyone's thing, but actually that's pretty tasty. Can you see that in there?
What, the decal option?
No. The actual, you can see the riveting, the panel lining.
Oh, I'm watching it on YouTube.
Oh, right. You're in the lag zone.
I'm in the lag zone. I'm in the past, obviously.
That actually looks very nice.
Yeah?
It does actually.
There you go. Might as well chuck it together as a live stream, dude.
Well, we could do. There's not a lot to it.
Exactly.
Right. Hold on. I tell you what, you
see some
can't.
wings still on this stream.
Sorry?
I said I can see some wings.
Yes. Look at that.
Actually, that don't look half bad.
I was going to say, I know everyone dismissed this, but actually I think that looks all right. It definitely looks a bit of a step up than the Airfix one that I did.
Because you built the Airfix one, didn't you?
Yeah. Got a little bit of internals as well.
It's typical what it is from Trumpy, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's
Well, again, what is it? 35 quid to get, I think?
35 quid, I think, something like that, yeah.
But yeah. I'll do the proper review of this tomorrow, so I won't empty it all out. But,
No.
as I say, you've got everything you sort of need in here. To be honest, it doesn't look too bad at all. Looks like we've got a little bit of framework. And again, we've got rubber wheels.
Oh, God. And a
Back
bit of
to that. Yeah. Decent. We've got a clear instrument panel. We've got a lovely little bit of photo etch for your harnesses.
Yeah.
Doesn't look too bad at all, really, does it? And I'll assume we've got clear part in there, which we'll have a proper look-see at. But no, to be honest, I don't think that's too bad at all. There you go. We've got a detailed cockpit. Right the way through. All right, it's not going to win any awards, so to speak, but it's got everything you need for a good starting point.
Well,
to be honest, I wouldn't bother sticking anything else in. You would never see it. Yeah.
I was about to say a Hurricane cockpit, you never see much in them anyway.
No. And you have got separate for the armament as well. So if you did want to stick some guns in it, options will be there. Yeah, I must admit, I think that doesn't look too bad at all. Again, it's not massive and it's not going to be much work, but it's, very nice. But yeah, we're clearly going to see other versions. You guys can see this, but obviously down in here, this is this the 8-gun one? Yeah, so this is the 8-gun one.
Right.
And obviously they did other versions, didn't they? They did the 10-gun version, wasn't it, or something? 12-gun version, the one with the outer guns down in there, and then obviously cannons.
I was about to say, what about the one with the cannons? They're going to have to do that, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, we want the cannon one done as well.
You got to think, the 24th ones we built. So
and guess what? We've got a mask set.
You're being serious?
Seriously, look at this. We have a mask set.
That's got to be a first for them, isn't it?
I've never seen that before.
Mind you, we ain't done much Hobby Boss reviews lately, so I won't know with the.
Yeah, I must admit, we are a little bit out of
so
touch
is that a die cut one or one you've got to do yourself? Die cut.
No, it's die cut.
It's die cut, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got so that's a pretty much a build out the box job, isn't it? If you want to not faff around, you've got a mask set, you've got a bit of photo etch for your harnesses.
Yeah.
You've got an instrument panel you can probably work with.
Yeah. That's really, really nice, actually, I must admit.
So I'm impressed.
The schemes.
You've done the review now.
Yeah, that's it. So scheme 1.
Well, that's quite a common one, isn't it, with the skeleton on the side. Quite like that
Polish one.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Because that's not the brown, the obviously dark earth and dark green, is it? Obviously the Czech one.
Got the Czech one.
Yeah. What's the
then
last
got
one?
this one, which is the US Eagle Squadron, isn't it? With the markings onto it? Or is it the Polish one?
No, because the Polish one normally have the little flag on the front.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought that looked like the Eagle. I can't work out if that's the Polish one or the...
I don't know. What's chat say?
What's chat say? They must know.
Blimey, a pretty decent kit photo etch. Yeah, there you go, Jim. It is as well. Not bad, is it? Because I'll explain the idea behind the Oh yeah, the white and the black underside.
Yes.
What was behind that?
Well, it was identification, wasn't it, in the beginning of the war?
And then they scrapped it.
Yeah, they dropped that quite quickly, I think.
Yes, it is a new tooled Hurricane.
Yes.
Has anybody said in our chat? Because nobody's on thinking in YouTube yet.
No, I don't think the Super Hornets came with mask sets.
No. That was a mask set, Tim. Yes, you do get a mask set.
You do get a mask set. Nice.
Yeah.
As I say, I'll do the proper review of this tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'll stick it up tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, apparently RF is the Polish.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Nigel's put it, and Nigel knows.
Yes.
Right, so it's a Polish squadron then. I thought we normally had the little Polish flag.
Yeah, we obviously get 2 Polish ones. And it's only because I remember that one because I've seen it on the back of a MiG-29.
Yes.
I'm sure it's that marking.
Apparently, can you zoom in on the colour call-outs?
Well, I can tell you what they'll be.
I can tell you what they are. Dark earth and dark green, REF.
Yeah, the sky.
Dark earth and medium sea grey, is it? For the grey?
And sky, won't it? It'll be.
And then black and white underneath.
Yes. No, it's sky and black underneath, isn't it? That's how they did it.
Well, sky and black, is it?
Yes.
I thought the things were black and white. The early ones. And then they went to sky.
Here we go. Pause this. Yeah, these ones all look like they're in sky, though. Because down in here, it's giving the colour as sky. Oh, I don't know, actually.
I'll tell you what, John.
Tamiya X11.
I'll tell you what, John. We have actually got these in the shop. I don't know if they're on the site. If they're not on the site and you do want one, I will get... I don't know if Andy's actually watching this. Is he in chat? Because he might put it up if he's going to do it for me.
I can't see the full chat thing.
No, I don't think he's... Oh, yeah. Is Andy on? No, that's not Andy. That's a different Andy. He's probably fell asleep. That's Andy Martin. We'll get him put up on the site. So tomorrow...
But they are giving out this underside colour as silver.
Oh, right.
Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, I'm reading this wrong. It is sky, and then they're giving B as silver. So, yeah, it's sky and black underneath. I was right. I'm not having a moment.
Right. Nigel says, can you repeat, please? I don't know what the...
That's the old joke.
Oh, right, okay.
Is that the one where they're flying in formation with zeros? Just saying. Go back and watch it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Oh, right, okay. So,
since I was a wee lad, I thought they were hurricanes until somebody pointed it out, and then it was like, I can't unsee that now.
Right, let me just...
It's in the basket already.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll get some more in if people are interested. I didn't realise we didn't get many in, so just Squarespace.
Yeah, okay, so just to put this in, you say no mask, no spray booth, right? We do this so you don't have to.
Normally I do, to behind me before.
Yeah, and I'm the same as well.
There's a full spray booth and a full mask, but where I am, obviously, I can't talk and thing with a mask on.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've got all of that. And
that is also why I'm doing this little kit and not something massive, because if it was, I would be there with my mask on and rigged up properly. So this is just for demoing, to be honest. But yes, health and safety is always a priority, especially for me.
Yes.
So, yup.
Any plans to review Tamiya's, Trumpeter's 32nd scale Devastator?
It's not out yet, is it?
I was going to say, is it out yet? I don't think it's even out, is it?
No.
Again, just to clarify this as well, because it's a question I get asked a lot, is about like, oh, I was late to the party, for instance, with the F-35 and the various things to it and the reviews and stuff. Again, back in the day, yes, I used to review things when they came out. The trouble we have now is that obviously I get all my stuff via PM. Me and Matt own the company. Yeah. So we have to wait for them to come in. So, yeah, it doesn't... You've got to see it from my point of view. There's no point in me ordering it direct from whoever and paying full price when I can get it at trade when it gets here. So that's the thing. I sort of wait for them to become available in the UK, then I do the review for them. And obviously there's quite a disparity between the time it takes different parts of the world. So that's it. I know a lot of people say about, oh, you've done this, and oh, I've got it, and it's sat here, and I haven't done the review of it yet. It's just timing and stuff sometimes. But no, I must admit, it looks quite impressive, that particular one. Right, okay, next question. Yeah. John says, oh, it's John, our John, as in John Best. New John. The other one can't come on because his internet's not working. A question about AK3 Gen or 3rd Gen primers.
Yes.
For the guys who've used it, I finished and I get the black primer with excellent.
Yeah.
But it's a headache to spray. Initially thinned it around 15% as per Phil's F15C test, but ended up needing it to near 50%. It seems to want a lot of air pressure around about 26 psi. So the really silly question is it possible that the black primer needs more thinner and air pressure than the grey or the white? Or in similar way, how much paint can be sprayed neat due to it being thick as another colour? Again, you do tend to find that black will always be a thicker colour than anything else, purely because it's coverage as well. White is always going to be a thinner colour and more difficult to spray, so it tends to be a thinner paint as well, so you need to build up the layers. But I did find, obviously, it was the first time I'd used it in, it's back there now, in anger, the primer. It's very thick. It's getting used to spraying again acrylic paint, because I'm used to lacquers, and lacquers are notoriously really, really thin. And, you know, I tend to spray lacquers all at around about 70% thinner. That's my sort of sweet spot for it. But true acrylics, and we'll be doing it with this as well, it will be going back a little bit. So probably a little bit higher air pressure just to keep it flowing and atomizing and doing its bits and pieces. So it will have to cover a lot more.
To be honest with you, I'll be demoing some of that primer on the figure. So I will be setting myself up in this spray booth, and you will see. But yeah, the black is definitely, I think it is with the Vallejo one as well. You know, them polyurethane.
Yeah.
And the white is really, really thin. You will really have to, I stick it in the machine, the shaker.
Yeah.
Because it really does separate, and it's very watery when it's not fully mixed. And like you say, the grey one's a bit in between. It is that case.
Yeah.
But you just thin it accordingly. Like I say, we never, or I definitely don't, and I know Phil don't, is good for this ratio rubbish.
Yeah.
Because each paint's different.
Yes.
You know, and you know, like you've just put there, if the black's a lot thicker than the grey or the white, then obviously it's going to need more thinning. So the 50-50 ratio, or whatever it is, 10%, 50%, whatever, might not work for that one, but it might work for the grey or the white. So it's just using the products and getting to know its quirks, I suppose.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Each paint and each manufacturer, and even in case of, you know, a lot of manufacturers, the colour will make a difference as well. You know, because again, like MRP, classic example, going back to them a minute, their colours have got great coverage until you get to the greens, and the greens were notoriously, and this is going back a few years, very thin. And so the fact, when I did the 30-second scale Mosquito, I used like a quarter of a bottle to do all the grey work, top and bottom, and then I used basically a bottle just to do the green camo on the top. And because it just doesn't cover as well, so you need to put down more coats of it to get it a good solid green colour. But that's just because the green pigment is quite a thin one, and it just takes more to build it up. It's a bit like, obviously, when you spray white, a lot of people have trouble getting a nice solid coloured white, because obviously you need to put down a good few coats of it as well. And again, like I say about putting down a black base for spraying white, because when you've got it on there, it's got that good heavy duty solid look to it of being a proper gloss white. And again, it's one of those where you're just having to build up the layers more slowly as you go through. But again, a lot of difference, when you're spraying, even like the 3rd gen stuff is specifically designed really for being really good coverage and really good mixes and to be airbrushed, but you still need to work out where the sweet spot is for it. And again, that was a learning thing for me to do it on the F15. So yes,
it is like I was going to say is probably we'll touch on this a lot over these streams and just in general. If you've got a paint that works for you, stick with it, because you'll get to know then it's pluses and minuses and everything in between.
Yeah.
The more you switch and change and keep swapping, is probably then you're having to relearn the system again, another system.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're all different. They've all got their own quirks about them. So just try and stick with one that works for you, that you like, and just run with that. You know, use their own thinners, their own products with it, and you can't go wrong. When you're more experienced with the airbrushing side of it, then you can sort of play about a little bit and see if other things work and mix and do all that, you know. But definitely for me is just stick with one brand. One, you know, if you're an acrylic painter, an acrylic paint or lacquers or whatever you're doing, and stick with that and learn the system. We just have to learn all the systems because obviously we sell quite a bit of paint of different manufacturers, so we need to know what they do and what they don't do and everything else.
Yeah, again, you said about it's not very scientific, we're mixing it, all the rest of it, is that's the nature of paint though. And I think it's one of those things why people, especially new people coming into the hobby, they really, really struggle because they're being told that they need to be at a certain thickness and a certain, you know, air pressures, and it should be like this. And again, that it doesn't make it, you know, as you say, it's not so bad with certain manufacturers of paint, like Tamiya's pretty much, they're all the same. But certainly for different colours, you might need to just twitch it up and tweak it a little bit to make it work a little bit better. And that's something that comes with time. And like I said before, I steered away from this percentages, you know, where people talk about it's always a rough guide. Air pressures, never talk about it because, again, there's so many variables, like your air pressure is dependent on your airbrush. And it's not just your nozzle size because, again, as nozzles wear out, they deliver more air anyway. So, again, there's just so many different variables. It's easier to listen to your paint flow coming out of your airbrush. Say, if you can hear it crackling and it sounds like it's struggling, you can up your air pressure, you know. And then, obviously, if it's now just it's not really working or it's really dry, then you can thin it a little bit and then you can bring the air pressure down. And you're just finding that little sweet spot. And like most of us now run a Mac valve on your actual airbrush. So you've got your Mac valve like this one's got one on the bottom. You can just tweak it just slightly on the fly. It sounds like it's running on and it's going everywhere. Just knock back your air pressure a little bit. If you're finding it's crackling and that, as you say, like Matt's got an inline one there just on the bottom. This one's got one built in, but you can just adjust it and you'll find these tiny little tweaks. And before you know it, you're into that situation where you'll spray it to test your paint coming out and you'll know straight off the bat, oh, that's a bit thick. You know, right, okay, a bit more thinners in there, you know, thin it out a little bit. Now I can turn down the air pressure down because I've thinned the paint. And it just becomes second nature to it. And again, even when I switch between, you know, purebred lacquers and all the rest of it back to using an acrylic and stuff, straight away you do it and you're like, oh, it's changed because acrylics tend to be thicker. The pigment's bigger, you know, the binders, the various bits and pieces in the actual paint that make up acrylics is a lot thicker than a lacquer. You know, and again, it's one of those is learning them, but it's right the way through. We've often said from the basic, make sure your paint is thoroughly mixed. The amount of times we've had people when they've had trouble with paint where they've given it a shake for just a minute and they think that's it. But down the bottom here, and you'll never see it in dropper bottles especially, it's thick, solid paint down, and all you've got is thinner at the top. So what's happening is you're putting that in your airbrush, and as your paint's going down, you'll get into the thicker stuff now, which is bit of false advertising because it's not what the entire pot was originally was if it's thoroughly mixed. So make sure that's thoroughly mixed. Also make sure it's thoroughly mixed, your thinner and your paint when it goes into your airbrush. So then that way you've got the best possible outcome. So it's a true reading of when you're having to tweak it and play with it. And again, you get certain manufacturers, we've spoken about them recently, where they start to separate in the colour cup of your airbrush. So every now and again, give them a whiz up. Otherwise you end up with thinner on the top, or the colour might actually break. You're like green at the top. You know, you've got your yellow at the bottom, you know, and the various things if you're doing blues and that. And it's just making sure it's all mixed up and going so you get the best possible, you know, feel for it. But I think as soon as you start listening to your airbrush and you're understanding it, and that's the whole point, is understanding exactly what's going on. If you can understand it, it just makes things a lot easier. So straight away, it's crackly. Right, I'm going to pop it just feels thick. It feels this way, needs more thinners. You know, and again, you can do it the other way. You're thinking, oh, that's way thin. Going to add a bit of paint into that, remix it up, go again. And before you know it, you've really got it mastered about anybody's types of paints with it.
Yeah. I think, again, for a newbie, you do need a little guideline on thinning.
Yeah.
It's a bit much to say, you know, without any information. But I do find as well, and I don't know if me not looking, or, you know, like paint manufacturers in general. I know when, like, my old job, you used to get sheets.
Yes.
and saying, right, this needs mixing this percent and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I don't find you get that with hobby paint so much, do you?
No. You
Which
don't
again,
get
it's
a sheet with it to give you the
info or
the
some
back,
info on it, yeah. Or even if it's on their website to say, you know, this is a recommended thinning ratios, yeah.
Yes.
And then at least you've got a guideline, and then you can go either side of that, really, depending on what you're doing or what colours you're spraying. But again, it's something perhaps the paint manufacturers do need to look into, because, again, I think it can cause problems for them needlessly, because people are saying, well, I can't use their paint, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
When actually it's not. It's just there's no guidelines or no information on actually how properly to use it.
But again, it's one of those things, like, you know, Jim says there, experiment and practice. It's one of those things, you just play with it. All too often, a lot of people have said before, you get your nice model and you're so terrified about ruining it, you don't experiment and practice a little bit. It's why it's really nice to have a buster where you think, do you know what, I've got a nice paint here, I've never used it, I haven't done it for a while, and I will be the same. I'm not just going to stick this straight on that, because I can't remember the last time I sprayed this. So it's going to be one of those, I'll have a quick practice on something so I can just get my ratios and feel for it. So when I do come along to my nice model, I've got a really good idea what's going to be going on with it. So I'm not then just to this thing about, oh, we'll just get it down and that will do, because you haven't really learned the quirks of the paint and all the rest of it. Like Matt, even only a couple of weeks ago when you were doing your B25, over-thinned the paint completely.
Oh, yeah.
But got good results with it. So it's like a happy little accident, as we say, because he was getting actually really nice effect with it, even though the paint was completely over-thinned. So, you know, you did have to put down quite a few coats, but then you got that nice build-up of paint colours and gave you the tones and shades because you could do that with it. But normal people wouldn't probably thin it that far, so would never get that effect. So, and that's the thing to it. It's just learning what you can and can't do with it. You know, like I often say, sometimes if you do like post shading, I used to make my post shading so thin, you could spray it a wing, you wouldn't change it. But if you're building it up in an area, you can really get some interesting things from it. But again, it's just literally learning, say, the quirks of each paint. Each paint has its own quirk. A lot of them have good points and they have bad points. And it's just knowing where they are and working in that zone in the middle. And then that way you can stretch it to the bad points to get different type of effects with it as well. It's a bit like that thing about where you get a flat paint, isn't it? And if you put it down almost neat, it will come out dead flat finish. Yeah. If you thin it to an inch of its size, you can make it glossy. You know, because it's just your ratios you're doing and how you're putting it down, isn't it? So,
and I mean, we're probably going to get probably a lot of questions about paint, because we normally do anyway.
Yeah.
So again, you know, on the comments if you're on the YouTube, or obviously even on our chat, if you want to chuck stuff in of, like, you know, paint questions if you want, really. And I'm sure we can demo stuff and just try and put you in the right direction.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got any paint questions and paint related, between all of us, we've probably got every manufacturer here as well. So, you know, it's one of those ones where we can show you or hopefully get you on the right track. Just to draw your attention, as I say, because they are quite handy for this. If you pop over to the main site, it's free. You don't pay for this. It's not part of subscriptions or anything else like that. But you can pop down in here, and I've done last year a full tutorial set on basics of airbrushing. So, you know, airbrushing, as in troubleshooting, things like that. It's all bite-sized, so it's all the things that can go wrong and why. And then obviously, literally just your paint types and thinning and mixes and stuff like that. And then I show you what you get your effects out of it. So if it's too thin, if it's too thick, so forth and so on. Then we got one down in here about air pressure and distances and how that can affect your spray patterns and your flow and everything else like that. Right the way up to priming, to getting a really nice glossy sort of primer look like this. So it's nice and smooth, no textures, no nothing into it or anything. So it's just generally a really nice sort of finish right the way through. And then right the way through to this one, which is actually quite a handy one. It's the one about textures. So, you know, I describe it by sanding sticks, the different textures effects you can get with paint just by the thinness of it. And obviously with the speckly effects and, you know, different types of effects with it as well. So you can see this one's really gritty because there's not enough thinners in it. And then obviously down in here, you've got quite nice. Down in here, it's a little bit thin. So it's very, very thin patterns and stuff. But anyway, there is videos on all of those sections down in there. So if you want to have a look about that, then have a watch, because they'll answer a lot of your questions as well. But you say it's just down straightforward in the tutorial section. Say it's all free, don't cost anything. Have a look. and then hopefully that'll get you on the right track as well. But if you have got any other questions, shoot them up to us. And as I say, we're quite happy to demonstrate, show you whatever it is, make a cock up with it ourselves, say it's crap paint, throw it at the window.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. All of the above.
Unusable, that stuff.
yeah. Normally user error, but yeah, probably.
Yes.
Again, I think Robert's just put a thing up as there about obviously your distance as well is a massive factor.
Massive.
We had this with a gloss coat, didn't we, last week, was it?
Yeah.
Somebody was struggling with a gloss coat, and we were, just explained the ins and outs of putting a good gloss coat down.
Yeah.
Seemed to work for them, didn't it? So, but again, the distances is a big thing as well, how far away, how near you are, and all the other bits in between. So you get, it's just one of them tools where you do need to practice and play with it, get used to it, don't be scared of it.
Yeah. So Francisco's there saying, apart from dedicated thinners, you don't seem to champion cheaper alternatives that are on the market, i.e. distilled water. No. Again, we speak about this. It's one of those things, especially if you're new to airbrushing and all the rest of it. And let's face it, if you're watching this, you probably are. You know, if you're a pro at it, you'll be off doing other things. But, you know, for most people coming along, as I say, when they're being told, oh, get some distilled water and go off with it, they're going to struggle because you need that sweet spot is getting smaller and smaller. So if you're using, you know, as you say, an acrylic and you're just using distilled water with it, yes, you can do it and it works no problem at all. And certain paint manufacturers absolutely love it. Life color, you know, things like that, especially the true ones, model color, stuff like that, no problem at all. But the sweet spot is very limited. So instead of having a sweet spot of areas you can get away with spraying it is this big, it gets reduced because you're into that sweet spot of using it. And like we've often said, is that especially if you're learning and you're getting used to it, if you're using, for instance, like Vallejo Model Air, use Vallejo Model Air's thinners. They've designed it to work with it. It will give you the best possible working area for it. You know, when you're into lacquers and stuff like that, you could probably stick most stuff in it and away you go. But even using that, I use two specific types back there. I've got slow drying and rapid drying lacquer thinners. And depending on what I'm doing, that's where I'll switch between both of them. But again, using cheaper alternatives, shall we say, although yes, they can do it, and if you're into that and that's the paint you use, it works for you, absolutely. But for new people coming into this one, it's a steep enough learning curve as it is without limiting it and making it even more difficult. Once you've got the hang of it, knock yourself out, absolutely go for it.
Yeah, I will try say stay with the same sort of brand thinners, like say it's made for that paint, so you've got to cut out any sort of hassle that you could have, really.
Yes.
So I'm just going back to Stuart's question. He's just put about the diorama book. So he's put, if you have the FAQ diorama book, the big Bible one from AK, are the diorama and vegetation books that are on the site, the little ones we've got for pre-order, which are these two, I take it is after, worth getting? I would probably say yes. They're a bit more bite-sized.
Yes. And they are different ones, though, aren't they? So I think that's probably what he's getting at. It's not the same bits.
No, there is all different bits and bobs. I mean, it does cover, obviously, what the bigger book does cover.
Yeah.
But it's in a bit more of a sort of a bite-sized. Yeah, look, cobblestones look, Phil.
There you go. See, I need that book.
You need that because you can paint it. You see, you can use it to paint.
Yeah.
But it'll go through, and like I say, I used the fleshed one when I was doing that thing, and it's just I've obviously got the big FAQ book. But it's just nice just to have a quick flick through and just not have a massive book on the table.
Yeah.
Just for certain techniques, I suppose, you know. But, yeah, I would say get them. You know, the vegetation one will have a... You know, I think that goes through making trees and painting trees and, you know, bushes and usual stuff, really, groundwork.
Yeah.
Which, again, Phil's going to need for his landing strip. To put it politely. But
yes.
For the cost as well, I think what they are, about a tenner, aren't they?
Yeah.
Tenner each or something like that.
Tenner each,
I would say they're worth definitely getting in and just having in your library. 100%. So, right, are there many brush painters on the forum? Well,
we've got a few.
I brush paint when I do. No, there is. No, there is some brush paint. And brush paint is not completely gone out the window, is it? Let's be honest.
Not at all.
I could have brush painted this.
Yes.
I probably wouldn't brush paint a 35th one, if I'm completely honest. but I could have got away with brush painting that. Just thought I'd show how to spray Gen 3s again, if anybody were interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, brush painting's an art in itself as well.
Yes.
And that's all about thinning paint.
Absolutely.
Basically, your ratios, and you'll probably see that when I start doing some figures as well, because a lot of my figures are brush painted, to be honest, or 90% of it is a bit with the airbrush, but
again, like airbrushing, it is that thing is that, you know, brush painting, there's two ways of doing it. There's just putting colour down, and there's that really, you know, sort of artistic way of building it up, very thin colours, letting them dry, building it up. And I used to know a chap, unfortunately, he passed away earlier this year, and he was mega. He used to do 30-second scale, like Tamiya, F-16s, F-15s, Phantom, stuff like that. All of them are hand-painted. Not one of them would you ever think was hand-painted, because the weathering on was absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, he's retained all the panel lines, all of those details, all the things that sometimes you might fill in if you've overdone it. And again, a true artiste at doing it. Very, very clever. And he was probably one of the finest brush painters I've ever met in my life. He's very, very talented at it, you know. And again, that was the thing where he used to prime out of a rattle can, and he never owned an airbrush. He used to rattle can, prime it, and then after that, it's all in by hand. But, you know, it was like incredible to see the work that he used to be able to perform with it. So don't think that, you know, brush painting isn't a thing or anything else like that, because it definitely is. And again, when you're into certain worlds like figure painting, stuff like that, yeah, that is the only way you can do it, because you can't get in there detailed enough to blend in that, not with a, you know, unless you're talking the big stuff.
Yeah,
you can get in there and properly get the layers in.
You're going then down another conversation of paintbrushes, because there's a lot of variables in paintbrushes, and I've got some very expensive ones and cheap ones. But if I'm figure painting or brush painting properly, we are on the proper good, you know, squirrel, sable, rare, mammal, hare ones, if you want to call them that. But they do make a hell of a difference. Like an unbelievable amount of difference that you wouldn't think. You think, God, I'm going to pay like 20 odd quid, say, for a Winsor & Newton #1. And you've got to justify that cost. But once you get used to that paintbrush and how it works out, it holds its point, how it holds paint, because obviously that's a big variable as well, the thinning of the paint and stuff. It's night and day compared to a cheap brush. But like, so, but I don't mind. Yeah, I like brush, but I think it's good hand-eye coordination as well.
It is.
Keeps your hand in. So, yeah.
No, definitely. I think it is. It's one of those areas where I think a lot of people, especially if you're coming back to the hobby, they see the airbrushing and stuff like that. But also sometimes airbrushing is great for just doing like camouflage, putting paint down on your model. After you've done that, like even with me now, as soon as I've got, you know, the decals on, I'm over to oils and the chipping and stuff like. It's all by hand. It's all by brush.
It is.
So
it's get the basic colour down. Then after that, just flipping over to oils. I've kind of lost my patience to sit there faffing with an airbrush nowadays, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
You can do it all with oils, and it's actually quite a pleasurable, relaxing experience, where I find airbrush, I won't find it, say it's stressful, but if you could, you know, you mix in 50 shades of this green to do all this nice post shading and all the other bits and bobs, a lot of it you can just do with oils off a palette, and you've got then the world's your oyster with your oil palette of how many colours, shades, whatever you want to mix.
Yeah.
You know, and they do last for a few days, don't they? So, I mean, this is definitely going to be weathered with oils, 100%. Because it's so small as well. I'll obviously paint the details in by hand, and then I'll weather it with oils. So, quite looking forward to it. It'll be a relaxing thing. I think the only thing I don't really weather with oils, and I don't know why, because is figures. Because I have painted figures, flesh especially, with oils, because they blend so nice. You get such smooth transition. But it's somehow I've kind of stuck with the acrylics in a stubborn sort of way. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you're doing shading and stuff, it's so much easier to blend.
Yes.
Into deep folds and things with the darker colours and that. I don't know. Some might try in the future. Go back and just give it a go.
Cool. Okay, Richard says, Phil and Matt, I'm coming to the end of my bottle of clear. A recommendation for a gloss and a matte varnish would be a great help.
So what you've painted in, lacquers or acrylic?
Well, if he's saying he's getting into his bottle of clear, I don't know if he means as in future clear, or
I
just
don't know.
means
Yeah,
clear in general? Yeah, Richard,
Yeah.
which one? We talking acrylic or lacquers or alcohol based?
Yes.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Type up and we'll find you an answer. Again, it's one of those ones where you're literally spoiled for choice now. There's some great options around there, and I know we were talking about them the other day, and some of the guys were saying what they use, and there's not a wrong answer in there.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, Robert, on these, you should learn both the airbrush and the brush for detail of figures. Like you say, you could get away with some of it with aerosol can. You know, the bigger bits, like your priming. I mean, I've got to that point now where I've got aerosol cans and I'll just whip it outside and give it a coat of a primer.
Yeah.
Because again, it's loading airbrushes up, mixing your primer, and you know, I can just do it out of a rattle can.
Yeah.
Just lazy, really. It's just efficient for me. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, people do. It's also for courses, isn't it? As they say,
Yes.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. It's what you use, isn't
There's
it?
definitely no right or wrong way of doing it. I don't think. You know, if it works, you get the results you're happy with.
Yes.
That's all that matters at the end of the day, isn't it? Absolutely.
Apparently, we're mainly talking acrylics. What did you say? The one that I've really fallen in love with, and to say we did a good test with it, was using this. So this is the old shine enhancer, which, to be honest, is just the same as this stuff, really. All right, there's not a great deal between the two. But again, when you know, a lot of you saw me do this live.
You've lost it.
This is proper glossed. This is the shine enhancer. That's over flat yellow. One coat straight over it, and that's with just the goozy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely mental. It's done a really, really good job on this. So, you know, from that point of view, I think it worked out really, really nicely. Again, it's very, very thin. So just like using the old floor polish and stuff like that, you have to worry if it might pull up along the bottom. And to be honest, it did with me, because I forgot. After spraying lacquers for all these years, I came into using this and it was like, oh, okay. So I did have to come along with a brush and knock off a few little drips and runs I had down the bottom. But it's dried on. It's hard as nails, no problem at all. So that's the old goozy type one. But again, most manufacturers out there do their own version of. But if you wanted like pure acrylic wise, I think those two are very, very good ones. But good old fashioned floor care, shine protection, whatever they call it this week. But now don't forget they do it in a different coloured. This is the US bottle. Now the British one or EU one is in a brown label. So yes, same thing, different label. David got his PM delivery yesterday. Trumpeter AS90, Tamiya T62.
I'll keep busy.
Yes. Posted on Twitter, some guy said the T62 is Tamiya's worst ever kit. Have any of you guys built that kit?
I think Andrew might have done. I've never built it. I have to say. So I couldn't tell you, but I've heard it's not... I don't know. You'll have to build it and tell us. Because I've never built it. I don't know. It's one of them... I've heard horror stories.
Yes.
But the other thing, it's cheap.
To be honest, I've never built it. I can't comment. I haven't done that. I've done the T55 and I've done the T72 and stuff, but I've never done the actual T62.
Yeah. No, never built it. I think, like I say, I think Andy's built it at some point, but can't remember. What about for matting the model down, Phil?
So you've got old school, which is extra acrylics flat varnish, which actually is really good stuff. Again, I sort of came back to this a few months ago. It was we were talking about it. I know Matt used it the other week as well. But honestly, this stuff is a life changer. First time I ever used it, it's a bit of a game changer on this one, because I used it on the F15 in a little bit of like, I did test it on Buster first and it gave me a nice result, but it did a brilliant job of burying down the decals. And if you remember on the actual Tempest as well that we've done, I used it on that. And that did an amazing job of repairing those said decals, which I've made a cock up with. So, it just absolutely worked, an absolute dream with it. So, again, it's one of those ones where, you know, I just bring up that Tempest. It's probably easier to show you a picture than actually get it. But on the video build for it, you can see when we went in and got it down and in, we got a picture of a decal. There we go. It properly worked. It got it right down into there and everything else and flattened it off beautifully. No problems at all with it. And again, we had that little bit of trouble on the decals on here as this one. And again, it just went on really, really nicely. No problem. That's the one. I used to have that big chunk of the actual carrier film out of it.
Yeah.
It covered it beautifully. But also, if you remember, our very large carrier film that you could peel off on all of it, and it just buried it, absolutely buried it. And it's the first time I've actually probably used a setting solution, a matte finish to go over, which I can honestly say buried the decal. Sometimes you can get them to go down a bit, but honestly, this one, you can't see them. You can't see the carrier film or where the decal starts and ends through the actual surface of it. It buried it. It properly did it. So you often hear us talk about bury the carrier film in so it smooths out, gets that painted on effect. That's the first stuff that's ever did it. And I know, Matt, you're a fan of do they call it Ultra Matte?
The Ultra Matte, that is flat.
Yeah.
Dead flat. Dead flat. Probably better for armour, I think, than aircraft, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But it's it goes down nice. I like it. I think it's a good flat coat.
Yeah. But I must admit, and like I used it for the first time when we did that F-15, and that F-15, it was one of those where you have to cut your own decals, carrier film off, because it's just on one giant sheet. And again, with that, it went on really, really nicely. We had no problems with it going down at all. So, and it was one of those ones where it takes a lot to impress me. They don't impress me much, but that did. I was like Victor Kayam at that point. I'm like, I'll buy the company. It was like, this is brilliant. I've never used it before. And, but yeah, I got a close up of down on the decal area.
So just to answer Richard, the AK matte varnish is actually ordered. It should hopefully be back in if you can hang on. And hopefully within a week, within a week or so. Because it does sell out fast when we get it in. The Ultra Matte's coming back in, the matte varnish. And to be honest, the other one that Phil just showed you, the extra acrylic one, they've been out of stock actually at Annance for a while. So hopefully they're in a restock of that because I've got some back ordered of that as well. So, yes, it's quite a popular.
Yes. But it was all right actually. I must admit, it was. It's one of those where it, for once, did what I wanted to do.
What did you thin it with? Probably their own thinners, didn't you? Or what did you thin it with? When I've used it, sorry mate, I've just used a proper thinner.
Yeah.
I don't really faff about. I don't know what did you thin yours with?
So to be honest with you, the first time I did it on the F-15, I didn't have the thinners because Matt brought the thinners down to me the other week when he was down. Yeah. So I just used X20A.
Yeah.
And it worked no problem at all. But I must admit, when I used it on the Tempest recently, when we finished that one, I did use their own thinners. Brilliant. No problem at all.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's like we were just saying about using your own thinners with your own product. It's working really well. But I must admit, I did use Tamiya's X20A because it was an acrylic and I'm thinking it's probably lacquer based. So, alcohol based. So I thought that would work. So, and it did definitely. It was one of those ones.
Cool.
So, yes.
Apparently the T62 is his first time where to go and find accuracy is an issue. I've heard the accuracy bit's an issue with it, if I'm honest. But it depends what you're going to do with it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It's a bit of fun then. Job done. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, right. You can get trouble. Sorry, you can get trouble with Future. Two things that can go wrong with it. First of all is that it can yellow, so be careful for that, because over time, if you're using it on a model that's grey or definitely white, Future will yellow over time, can guarantee it. So that's why I don't highly recommend it for doing top finishes and gloss coats and stuff like that. It's all right if you want to do it between weathering or something and you're going to put an ultraviolet stable clear coat over the top of it. But just be a bit careful with that one. And yeah, apparently eBay is a bit of a nightmare for people charging a fortune for it. You can get it in a Goozy bottle for... It used to be cheap. The whole point with Future, and again, this is one of those things, I think people forget it. The reason we used to use Future in the 80s and 90s, because it used to be like 90p a bottle. And it was a cheap acrylic gloss, straight in your airbrush, all by hand, and just spray it and you got an instant gloss. It was really, really good for that. But over the years, it's gone up in price, and now I think it's about a tenner. It's no longer the cheap option. What I don't understand why people still use it when you could use a proper one, which is, ultraviolet stable as well. So it's not going to yellow and not going to give you any problems. I think in some ways it was one of those. It's past its life. It's gone past it now. You can buy clear glosses, and by the time you thinned them and all the rest of it, works out a lot cheaper. So
and a lot better.
And a lot better. That said, I've still got 4 bottles of the original one if anybody wants one. Only £50 a bottle.
Bargain.
I have. I've got them up in that cupboard up there. They haven't yellowed. They're still fantastic. So we're all good.
Yeah, you ought to cash in on them quick.
Yeah, flock them off quick.
Yeah, flog them off quick.
Yes, definitely, Robert. Future will yellow over time. I've got models to prove it where I did them back in the day and they've literally gone yellow.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So, time is it up to? Shall we call it a day?
We can do. Just to answer Richard, the Goozy stuff, I just spray it neat. Don't need to thin it. It's like water. It's very, very thin anyway, so you don't need to thin that at all.
No.
As I say, the flat does. This stuff comes out like toothpaste. I'm amazed how thick it is, because when you put it in, it's like, is that even going to mix? And then give it a good whiz, and it does. It's fine. But again, thinning-wise, about 70% thinners. It's a gift that keeps giving. Very, very thick stuff, so you get your money's worth out of it, definitely. So, yes. Cool. Right, yes, we better call it a day because we've gone over. We were saying we're going to make these shows about 90 minutes. So there we go. We've gone 15 minutes over.
Yeah.
And you were here to witness a rocket get detonated.
There you go.
Rapid self-destruction, don't they call it? RSD. So, but yes. So anyway, thank you very much for today. As I say, any comments, anything you want us to talk about, please pop them down. Obviously, members, chuck it down in the show notes under this one in the forum today, and we can cover it another time. And obviously, if you're in YouTube world and all the rest of it, you want us to discuss something, please, kind comments only. I'm only going to say it once, or I'll turn them off again. In the comments section underneath us as well. Don't forget, you can like and subscribe as well. And if you do want to join the Flory models and see what we get up to every day of the week, then by all means you can join us via Patreon or just join the site as normal through PayPal, and you can do it that way. So yes, good job. We will be back with you on Saturday.
We will.
10 till 12. You can't get rid of us now. Now we've started, we're here.
That's it.
We sit here anyway. It's like, right, run the stream.
We will be modelling as well.
We will be doing proper modelling. I will be getting on with something by then because I'll have something on the go. So, but yes, it'll be fine. As I say, for members and stuff like that, don't forget, I will get this next part of this, part 3. It's editing as we speak. It's up being on the server. For this one, we'll be up with you. There'll be another part for that on Monday as well, which will be a little bit further on because I'm going to work on this obviously tomorrow as well as make it through with that one. I will get the review of this one done this afternoon as well, so I'll get that up onto YouTube and everything as well tomorrow. So by the time I do my quick roundup show, that'll be up with you as well. Cool.
That's it. Yeah.
Good job. We all done did?
We all done did.
All done did. Don't forget, the reason we're here, you can buy all this stuff we talk about on the PM store, or most of it. Some of it you can't. You can't buy future. I think we've sold out Hurricanes, have we?
We've got some more coming. I've ordered them.
Oh, right. Okay. Quickly order some more. So, yes. And everything. So, yes. But obviously, you can get them all at your PM store as well. So, it's pmmodelsuk.com. You can pop in there and have a peruse round. Don't forget, we've got 20% off all kinetic kits at the moment as well. So, if you want to grab some of those, they are available. Massive thank you, as always, to the Flory family for allowing us to do this one. So, we couldn't do it without you. So, massive, massive thank you to all of those guys as well. So, anyway, that's it from us. Happy modelling. Take care. We will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye, Matt. We're out of here.